My son was running a high fever at night, but my husband was attending his first love's daughter's birthday party. The next day, I calmly told him I wanted a divorce. My husband frowned. Why are you blowing things out of proportion over something so trivial? If you want a divorce, you must leave with nothing. Fine, I replied flatly. As if surprised by my prompt agreement, Andy Koo lifted his gaze to meet mine. Cora, are you sure? If you leave with nothing, you won't get anything, not even custody of our son. His gaze was sharp, his words ruthless. I said, I know. Let's finalize the divorce ASAP. Angered by my attitude, Andy gave up trying to dissuade me. He simply replied, meet me at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow at 8 a.m. Ironically, it had been harder to get the marriage certificate than the divorce papers. Holding my divorce papers, I tweeted, Happy divorce. Many people liked the post, including Andy's first love Miranda. While packing my belongings, I overheard Andy and Miranda's conversation. Miranda was endlessly apologizing for calling him and blaming herself. Andy said calmly, it's not your concern. Don't overthink it. When I entered, Miranda was startled and then forced a smile. Cora, you're back. I'll make dinner for you. Andy didn't even look up, still sorting through the papers on the desk. I fixed her with a piercing gaze and said, we're not acquainted. Please address me as Miss Lee. And though I've divorced Andy, that doesn't mean you can flaunt your presence here. If you want to show off, become Mrs. Koo first. But given your current situation, gaining the Koo family's approval will never happen. At that, Miranda paled. Once the campus beauty, she still looks delicate and lovely after all these years. Ms. Lee, you misunderstood, she stammered. I interrupted. The truth lies between you and your conscience. Andy frowned. This has nothing to do with Miranda. There's no call for you to be so confrontational. I smirked. Andy and Miranda had been a perfect couple on campus. Until a thug made lewd remarks at Miranda, Andy tracked him down and beat him up. Later, the thug retaliated by running him over with a car. Then Andy spent a year recovering in the hospital from his injuries. During that year, Miranda married the campus bully who had pursued her. And they had a daughter. 7 years later, Miranda could no longer tolerate her husband's frequent domestic violence and filed for a divorce. But his influential family dragged out the proceedings for a whole year without success. Desperate, Miranda called Andy. Miranda first called Andy on our son's birthday. Andy promised, Daddy will be back to cut the cake with you. Yet our son waited all night. His hope crumbled with every deceptive sound at the door. After Miranda reappeared, his broken promises piled up. Missed amusement park outings and skipped family dinners. Each time Miranda called, Andy would ruffle his hair and leave as if a touch could erase the hurt of broken promise. I promised my son we'd go on vacation this summer, but Miranda's call ruined it. I had promised to attend my son's parent-teacher meeting, but thanks to Miranda, he ended up becoming the laughingstock of his whole class. I've argued and made scenes, but none of it worked. But they grew closer. My mother-in-law came to me and said, Andy is a responsible man. He would never do anything to harm you or your son. As long as you remain Mrs. Koo, Andy would never abandon you both. I nodded. This was true, which was also part of why I gave up custody of our son. He always felt free to leave recklessly, simply because he knew I was there to take care of the child. But now that I'm gone, could he still help Miranda with a clear conscience? The next day, news titled Mistress Confronts Lawful Wife in Her Own Home erupted in an online uproar. Miranda's face wasn't blurred, and people who knew her quickly uncovered her background. The public opinion online quickly turned against Miranda. Wasn't she the icy aloof campus belle? Now she sunk to being a mistress. TSK. The original wife hasn't even left, and the mistress already has the nerve to make a move? How disgusting. I hate these pity-seeking hypocrites, they're so disgusting. All homewreckers should die. I totally agree with the above comment. Couldn't agree more. I expected this wave of criticism to make her more restrained, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise, allowing her to divorce her husband who was a campus bully. Reportedly, her husband's family was prominent and, seeing such a daughter-in-law as a disgrace, immediately forced a divorce. Miranda then demanded an equal share of the couple's assets. Miranda's husband's family submitted the video I posted online as evidence of her infidelity, and the court ruled that she must leave with nothing. Her husband's patriarchal family declared they would not seek custody of her daughter Anna. My son Luis called me. "Mommy, I haven't seen you for ages. When will you be back?" The little guy's voice was muffled and downcast. "The nanny said you don't want me anymore, Mommy? Is that true? Did I do something bad? Tell me, Mommy, I'll fix it, I promise. Please don't go away, okay?" My eyes turned icy as I demanded, "Which nanny told you that?" "It was Lisa," my son whispered. "Sweetheart, Mommy needs to be away for some time, but I'm not leaving you. If anyone spreads gossip in front of you again, tell Daddy or me right away. Even though I won't be home, I love you very much." "That's a relief. Mom, I just transferred $5 million to your account. Make sure to take good care of yourself while you're away. Don't hold back, eat well and enjoy yourself. Grandma and Daddy gave me a lot of money, so I can support Mommy now. She doesn't have to work so hard," the little guy said seriously. I smiled and comforted him with a few words. I then called Andy, who immediately fired the nanny and told her to pack her bags and get out. He also warned that anyone who talked nonsense about us in front of our son would be kicked out immediately. On Friday afternoon, Andy was unable to pick up our son, so he called me. When I arrived at the school, I unexpectedly encountered Miranda, bundled up in a thick coat. Confronted by my radiant presence, Miranda seemed to age 10 years all at once. She glared at me. "Happy now? That video of yours made me public enemy number 1. My Anna is innocent. How can you be this heartless when you're a mother yourself? Aren't you afraid this will come back to haunt your son?" I glanced at her dismissively, toying with my new manicure. "That's not enough," I shook my head. "Your downfall should be 10 times worse than this. Your daughter is no saint either. It was wise of your husband's family to disown her. You bitch. You've ruined me, and I won't let you get away with this." Couldn't be bothered with her futile rage, I just waved her off. Anytime. After spending the day at the amusement park with Luis, Andy arrived at sunset. Andy looked at me and said, "Miranda called me today." I simply responded, "What? Are you defending your first love now? You know that's not what I meant. Do you have to be so snappy? You never used to be like this." What was I supposed to be? A stay-at-home wife managing the household? Doing laundry and cooking? Keeping everything spotless? Or blindly obeying you? I shot back. He was left speechless for a moment, at a loss for words. People do change. Before Miranda appeared, you were the ideal husband in others' eyes and the perfect father to our son. But since Miranda came into the picture, what have you become? I started counting on my fingers. I've calculated in the 2 years since Miranda showed up, you've broken your promises 99 times. Every time you made a promise to our son or to me, it vanished completely with just one call from Miranda. I stared deep into his eyes. How can you deny that all of this is because of Miranda? We're alumnae. She was in trouble, and I helped her out as best I could. I swear I never cheated on you. I smiled and turned away. Cheating isn't just physical, emotional infidelity is just as bad. In my world, there's no tolerance for that. Miranda became a public pariah, hiding with her daughter Anna wherever she could. Unable to bear seeing them suffer, Andy put them up in a villa close to his home. For this reason, Miranda would frequently knock on their door under the pretense of bringing the child over for some nutrition. As for her kindness, Andy just laughed it off. When my son told me about this, he looked very unhappy. "I don't like the supplements Aunt Miranda sent. They taste terrible." He whispered to me, "Aunt Miranda comes over every night, apologizes to Daddy, and asks if they can go back to how things used to be." I smiled. As expected. Miranda is now infamous, and clinging desperately to Andy is her only refuge. How could she pass up such a golden opportunity? What else have you got, kiddo? I asked playfully. I also know Daddy doesn't want Aunt Miranda coming over so often. He said I should focus on my studies so her visits don't bother me. My son proudly tilted his head, beaming with pride. I said, when I'm not around, listen to your dad. He won't hurt you. Andy was busy with work and the child refused to bond with the nanny, so Andy had to call me. For the sake of our son, we had agreed not to tell Luis about the divorce. Returning to this house felt like a lifetime ago. Mommy, I came first in the math Olympiad again. I smiled, praising him. This simple reunion between mother and son seemed unremarkable to me, but for Andy, it unleashed a storm. A week later, Andy called me. Cora, what do you mean? We agreed to part on good terms. Are you really trying to bankrupt the Coup Group? Have you thought about Luis's situation? Even though I couldn't see him, I could clearly picture his furious expression right then. What do you mean? What did I do? I replied coldly. Coup Group's confidential business file was leaked. I kept that file in the safe at home, and only you knew the password, Andy said angrily. Cora, must I spell it out for you? If you're out of your mind, get help. Stop slinging mud everywhere. I paused, then went on, ruining your business does me no good and only hurts Luis. I'm not stupid enough for that. Don't you know why I gave up custody of Luis? Only under the Coup family's umbrella can he receive the finest education. I would never dream of doing anything that could jeopardize Luis's future. The Coup family wields considerable sway in both the business and medical fields. Luis's elite school costs millions a year in tuition, not to mention other living expenses. Use that thick skull of yours and think, who's been constantly at our house? Who kept visiting under the guise of bringing supplements and who's most likely to have taken those files? Must I spell out the name? By now, the answer was clear. Andy blurted out, there's no way Miranda could have stolen those documents. He paused and added, Miranda would never hurt me. Huh. I sneered and hung up. I immediately pulled the security footage from the security room and sent it straight to Andy. You already know the answer. Why lie to yourself? The footage clearly showed Miranda's last visit to the house while I was taking my son out to dinner. With something clutched to her chest, Miranda glanced around furtively before slipping out of the villa. I insisted on calling the police, but Andy firmly disagreed. He said, calling the police now would have serious repercussions for the Coup family. We must not. I gave a contemptuous snort and said nothing. Under the guise of the company's interests, he consistently favored his first love. Andy, you're a fine one to repay your parents' devotion like this. This incident also sowed seeds of doubt in Andy's mind about Miranda. While taking my son for a walk in the park, I unexpectedly came across Miranda and her daughter. Miranda's standard of living had clearly plummeted. Anna's eyes blazed with anger as she stared at my son, her small face bearing an expression of malice far beyond her years. Anna pointed her finger at my son and spat, "This is all because of you. Uncle Coup won't have my mom. Even your own mother abandoned you, you're nothing but a bastard." My eyes turned cold, and I landed a hard slap across Anna's face. Miranda, can't raise your kid? Let me do it. I rubbed my throbbing wrist and gazed coldly at her. After the slap, Anna's rage flared up. I'll kill you. It's all because of you, wicked woman, that my mother's in this mess. Miranda, if you can't discipline her, I'll do it for you. I shrugged and said flatly, I don't buy that crap about not picking on someone smaller. Save your moralizing for someone who cares. Seeing the vicious look in my eyes, Miranda froze momentarily, pulling Anna away as she tried to lunge at me. Miss Cora, there must be some misunderstanding. I'd never try to come between your family, and I truly want Andy to be happy. He's only helping me out of loyalty to our alma mater. I waved dismissively. Save that line. I know what you are. Seeing this mother-daughter duo is downright revolting. I took my son's hand and started to leave. Just as I turned around, a sudden shove came from behind me. Instinctively, I spun around and sent her flying into the artificial lake. After all, my years of taekwondo training made handling this mother-daughter pair effortless. Anna floundered in the water, screaming, "Mommy, save me!" Miranda glared at me hatefully. "Cora, I didn't expect you to be so vicious as to do such a thing to a child." I shrugged. "If you don't jump in now to save her, she'll drown." Miranda couldn't swim and screamed desperately. But no one was going to risk their safety for a stranger's child. They stood by, frozen, unwilling to intervene. Just as Anna was about to drown, a figure dashed into the water. My son's eyes lit up. "It's Daddy." Andy swam toward Anna with all his might. The people on the shore immediately tossed a rope, and Andy managed to grab it, and both were brought to safety. Andy lay on the ground, gasping for breath. Seeing this, my son immediately took off his little jacket and draped it over him. "Daddy, are you okay?" My son wiped the water from Andy's forehead and asked with concern. "Anna, my Anna. If anything happens to you, I couldn't live without you." Miranda clutched Anna and wailed. Anna looked at me with fear in her eyes. "Auntie Cora, I know I was wrong. I'll never come near you again. Please spare me and my mommy. I promise I'll stay away from Uncle Koo from now on. Please spare me and my mommy." I raised an eyebrow. That little hypocrite really knows how to act. Miranda looked pained. "Ms. Cora, if you're angry, take it out on me, but the child is innocent. Why did you push my child into the water? You're a mother yourself, how could you be so cruel?" The people around me regarded me with increased scrutiny. My son got upset and shouted, "That's not true. It wasn't like that. Anna pushed me from behind just now. Mommy was trying to save me." Andy slapped my son hard across the face. "Luis, what did I teach you? Who told you to lie?" My eyes turned icy cold. "It's true. Anna called me an unwanted bastard first, then tried to shove me into the water. Mom only fought back to protect me." Andy bellowed, "Luis, how dare you lie?" He flung my son's jacket to the ground and pointed at him furiously. Anna spoke up, "Uncle Koo, please don't blame Luis. He was only protecting his mother. I'm afraid this is all my fault. I displeased Ms. Cora. Everything stems from my actions." Andy was about to comfort Anna just as the bodyguards hurried over. I narrowed my eyes and had the park cleared. This amusement park belonged to my family, so we cleared it out in no time. I had the bodyguards take my son to get changed. I finally turned my cold gaze on the man before me. Pin him down and teach him a lesson. The bodyguards hesitated. "But madam, this is the master." Andy stared at me in disbelief. "What? You won't take my orders? Get moving if you want to keep working here, or get out." The sight of the bright red slap mark on my son's face suddenly ignited my rage. "Cora, how dare you?" Andy's words were cut short as the bodyguards pinned him down and set about beating him. The bodyguards struck with precision, avoiding his face and vital areas, yet blows rained down repeatedly on his body. Miranda and Anna watched nearby, trembling in fear. "You're breaking the law," Miranda whispered. I looked at her with interest. "If you'd like to take his place, be my guest." Miranda was too frightened to say another word. After a brutal beating, Andy lay on the ground gasping heavily. I looked down at him and said softly, "You should be grateful you're Luis's father. Otherwise, for slapping him like that, I would have the bodyguards disable your hands. My family has underworld connections. You should know that killing people means nothing to me." My words rang in their ears like a curse. "Also, given your behavior, I've informed Mrs. Koo that the Koo Group will appoint a new successor. All your cards will be frozen and assets in your name reclaimed," I said in a measured tone. "Out of motherly affection, Mrs. Koo has left you a villa. The rest, you'll have to earn yourself." I rose and waved, "Good luck." Andy didn't believe it and called Mrs. Koo right away. Upon learning her beloved grandson had been slapped, Mrs. Koo was so furious she immediately agreed to my proposal. Peter, Andy's older brother, is now the successor to the Koo group. Peter leaned back lazily in the armchair, his eyes downcast, lost in thought. Didn't we agree not to see each other again? Peter adjusted his glasses and said softly. Was it my useless brother who upset you again? Peter was always like this, hitting the nail on the head. After 2 years together, I still couldn't grasp how he thinks. The two Koo brothers, Peter, the calculating and shrewd elder brother, was a cunning old fox. The younger brother Andy was a hopeless romantic, all heart but no courage, perpetually hesitant. When I married into the Koo family, my parents asked for my opinion, and after weighing the pros and cons, I chose Andy. And my condition was that on marrying Andy, he would be the Koo family's successor. I said, my husband will never be beneath anyone. The Koo family readily agreed. They needed someone by Andy's side to counter Peter. At that time, I'd been with Peter for 2 years. He valued my beauty, keeping me as arm candy to ward off other women and accompany him to business events. I set my sights on his connections and influence. Peter was quite generous in this regard, readily sharing his connections with me. We both understood that he didn't love me, and I didn't love him. It was all surface-level affection. When I ended things, Peter barely looked up, replying flatly, fine. After reaching an agreement with Peter, I refused to linger another moment and left immediately. Peter gave a faint smile as he watched me hurry away. 2 months flew by, and the private investigator I had dispatched kept sending periodic updates on the latest developments. Andy had lost his position as the successor and was timid in his actions. At first it wasn't too bad, but as time passed, Miranda and her daughter began to look down on Andy. Life is made up of trivial matters, and when conflicts piled up over time, Miranda finally snapped. If it weren't for that Cora woman, I'd still be living happily with my daughter. I wouldn't be reduced to this. Miranda screamed, I've had enough. I really have. Andy, you're useless. Can't even handle a woman. I must have been blind to choose you. After days of pent-up emotions erupting, Andy finally snapped. Be fair. If it weren't for you, would I have dealt with those thugs? Spent a year in the hospital? Ended up in this mess? And your daughter already so scheming at such a young age. Cora sent me the footage from that day. Your daughter cursed Luis and tried to push him into the water. Cora only fought back to defend him. Neither of you is any damn good. Anna flushed crimson with rage, her neck veins bulging. Don't you dare insult my mother. She charged at Andy to hit him, but he shoved her to the ground. Seeing her precious daughter being bullied, Miranda snapped. She grabbed the scissors from the table and stabbed Andy directly in the chest. Andy widened his eyes in disbelief, gazing down at the scissors protruding from his chest. Blood flowed from the wound and dripped onto the floor. When Andy collapsed, Miranda trembled with fear. She trembled while picking up the phone. Pablo? I've killed Andy. You promised if I killed him, you'd take me and my daughter back. Whatever was said on the other end made Miranda pale. Pablo, you actually lied to me? I won't let you get away with this. Pablo simply scoffed at Miranda's threats and hung up. When I got the news, Andy was already on his way to the hospital for emergency care, while Miranda and her daughter had been arrested by the police. Andy was seriously injured, but Miranda would likely only be convicted of assault and released within 3 to 5 years. But Miranda, bent on her own ruin, drugged her daughter in an attempt to escape custody. While taking her daughter to the hospital, Miranda escaped. As Miranda opened her eyes, she saw me sitting before her. We were in an abandoned, soundproof basement. However loud the commotion got, no one would hear it outside. Cora, what on earth do you want? Miranda strained against her bonds, only to find them tightening with every struggle. I've come for your final journey. A smile touched my lips as I watched her fearful expression. Are you going to kill me? Miranda stared wide-eyed at me as though I were a demon. Oh no. I shook my head. Clearly you killed yourself to avoid punishment. And you've got blood on your hands. But you're truly vicious, poisoning your own daughter just to escape custody. I have to hand it to you, she never imagined she'd die by her mother's hand. You're talking nonsense. Don't you dare curse Anna. I only gave her a little laxative, it won't harm her, Miranda screamed furiously. Really? Your daughter's corpse is still lying in the hospital's cold storage. 'Cause of death? That poison drink you gave her, you know. No, impossible. You're lying. I won't believe you. Miranda's expression turned wild. I took out my phone and crushed her last hope. On screen, the news clearly showed Miranda poisoning her daughter and using her to escape. That can't be. How is that possible? I only put a laxative in it. How did it become poison? In a fit of rage, she wrenched herself free against all odds. Anna, my Anna, Mommy didn't want to hurt you. How come it turned into something that killed you? How did this happen? Miranda shrieked hysterically as realization struck her. Her bloodshot eyes locked on mine. You're the one who switched my medicine, aren't you? I gave a cold snort. Why do you think Pablo divorced you? Have you no idea? And you actually thought Pablo would help you? Dream on. Oh, and one more thing. I deliberately leaked the confidential documents from your safe to you. Miranda was dead, her body a gruesome ruin. When she was found, not a single part of her body was unharmed. Pablo approached me and smiled. Ms. Lee, it's been a pleasure doing business with you. He extended his hand. I took a step back to avoid it. I don't know what you mean. I didn't want to waste time with him, so I turned to go. Ms. Lee, don't leave now. Pablo stopped me and promptly took out a miniature listening device. His nimble fingers flew over the phone, and my entire basement conversation with Miranda played back, word for word. I stared at him wide-eyed in disbelief. Like a predator lying in wait, he'd caught me off guard. In the end, I'd been the careless one. What do you want? I demanded, my voice low. Cut the threats. You caused Miranda's death. Anna ended up like that because of your drugs. I won't be your scapegoat. But who can prove that? Pablo laughed, his words chilling. The men who rescued Miranda were Ms. Lee's. Miranda's last meeting was with Ms. Lee herself. No one would believe Ms. Lee isn't connected to Miranda's death. I've already had all my call records with Miranda destroyed. Do you really think Ms. Lee and her family wouldn't become public targets if I hand over this recording? I made my way to the coup group building, my hands and feet having gone numb. I thought I had finally escaped, only to plunge into yet another abyss. Pablo said, what I want is simple. Hand over the coup group's confidential documents, and you'll never see this recording again. I'm not as stupid as Miranda. I knew from the start that confidential document you leaked to her was fake while that idiot was still gloating over it, he sneered. The document is in Peter's hands now. I can't get it, I replied. Don't sell yourself short, Ms. Lee. I know you can do it. If the genuine document isn't delivered in 3 days, this recording will be my special present for you, Pablo said with a malicious grin before turning away. I dialed Peter's number. Peter, I need to talk to you. Meet me at the cafe across from the office. I'll be waiting. After hanging up, I stared at the office building before me, lost in thought. I didn't dare risk whether he'd show up, leaving me no choice but to wait. The moment I saw him leaving the building, I felt like a heavy weight lifted off my chest. After taking the private elevator to the office, I immediately locked the door. I'd been to this office countless times and knew the safe's location like the back of my hand. As long as there are no surprises, the confidential documents should be in the safe. The combination would be Andy's birthday if Peter hadn't changed it. I entered the password I knew by heart, but it was incorrect. For a moment I stood rooted to the spot, stunned as I realized the password had been changed, with only 2 attempts left. What could the password be? What would Peter have set it to? Telling myself to stay calm, I took a deep breath and made another attempt with Peter's birthday. But again, it was wrong. Now I had just one chance left. One more wrong code, and the safe would lock permanently and trigger the alarm. After hesitating for a long moment, I gingerly typed in my date of birth. Ding! Password correct. My mind raced. Why did Peter change the password to my birthday? With no time to ponder why, I carefully opened the safe. Stunned, I found it completely empty. I stood frozen for several moments, my mind utterly blank. Why was it empty? Where had the documents gone? Looking for this? Peter's voice sounded behind me. I started and spun around disbelievingly. Peter leaned casually against the wall, holding the very documents I'd been searching for. How did you get in? My lips were dry. I never left. That was just a stand-in, Peter declared, and in that moment, he sealed my fate. He had watched me, like a clown, frantically searching for the documents. He struck the fatal blow just when I had thought success was within reach. I recounted the whole incident under Peter's hawk-like gaze. Peter watched me thoughtfully without responding. After a long pause, he finally let out a sneer. You're still as naive as ever. This document was the lifeblood of the coup group. Should Pablo acquire it, no one would be spared, not even me. I was well aware of that. If I don't do as he asks, Luis will be the first to be affected. I'm not afraid to die, but my boy has never done anything wrong. He doesn't deserve this, I said hoarsely. Tears streamed down my cheeks as I grabbed Peter's hand. Please tell me, what should I do? What can I do? Peter's face was inscrutable. He gently wiped away my tears with his fingertip. Don't worry. A single Pablo can't make any waves. As I stepped out of the company building, the sorrow on my face instantly hardened into icy resolve. I rubbed my thigh where I'd pinched myself and gave a bitter laugh. Never thought I'd sink to playing the victim with Peter. Caught between wolves and tigers, every step felt like walking on needles. If it weren't absolutely necessary, I would never have gotten entangled with Peter again. After 2 years with him, I knew exactly how terrifying he was. If Peter set his sights on Pablo, he wouldn't stand a chance. When I arrived at the hospital, my son was sitting next to Andy, watching over him. After sending my son away, I turned to Andy, his face pale, with mixed emotions churning inside me. Just as I was about to leave, Andy slowly came to. He looked at me and opened his mouth, but no sound came out. The doctor says it's nothing serious. Just rest for a while and you'll be discharged, I said flatly, preparing to turn away. Andy grabbed my hand, and in his struggle, the oxygen mask slipped off his face. Cora, I'm so sorry I couldn't protect you and Luis. Let go of me. I frowned. I've no idea what you're talking about. Cora, I dreamed that you and Luis both died. Andy's eyes were bloodshot. After Miranda killed you, she put on an act right in front of me. She and her daughter tormented Luis until he fell into depression and jumped to his death on a rainy night. Miranda and Pablo collaborated to empty the coup family coffers. Holding Luis' ashes, I finally caused a crash on Miranda's regular route. Consider it payback for you and Luis. Andy's voice choked up. It felt so real whenever I recall it, just thinking about it makes my heart hurt so much I can hardly breathe. I gazed blankly, drawn into the distant memories. Cora, those things really happened, didn't they? Andy asked carefully. Not expecting an answer, he went on, so you laid trap after trap to lure Miranda in. With her gone, Luis would be safe. As I left the hospital, my legs suddenly buckled and I collapsed to the ground. Andy asked, Cora, can we get back together? Just for Luis' sake. I shook my head. What's done is done. Besides, you don't love me, and neither do I. You only want to reconcile because you happen to need someone, and I'm conveniently available. That's all. Just as I was about to leave the room, Andy asked me one last question. He asked why I didn't get revenge on him as well. Given your intelligence, you could easily get back at me. I left him with only one sentence: you are Luis's father and my child's father. If something ever happens to you, Luis will be heartbroken. The next day, Pablo died. He got into an argument with a cousin at the company and was stabbed in the neck with a pen right there. When the ambulance arrived, Pablo had already stopped breathing. His cousin produced a psychiatric evaluation, rendering him immune to legal prosecution. Meanwhile, Pablo's company was swiftly divided up entirely by all the shareholders and Peter, with Peter taking the lion's share. When I saw the news, a cold shiver ran down my spine, yet I felt a profound sense of relief. I knew this was Peter's doing. With all obstacles cleared away, I held my son in my arms, feeling the joy of having him back safely. Good. This time, Luis, Mom will finally protect you for life. Recalling all that happened in my past life, I felt a stabbing pain in my heart. I hated Miranda for her repeated schemes and Andy for his inaction. As I witnessed my son being driven into depression and forced to jump to his death by Miranda and her daughter, overwhelming rage surged within me. When I opened my eyes again, I was back before the tragedy had happened. Everything was still fine, with a chance to put things right. This time, I will ensure Miranda and her daughter are destroyed for good. Mom, what are you talking about? I don't understand, my little one said, looking at me with wide eyes. Don't worry, sweetie. Mommy had a bad dream, but seeing you here makes me feel safe, I said softly. As I walked into the house holding Luis, Peter sat on the sofa, watching me with a faint smile. My entire spine went cold. Peter mouthed, "My prey, welcome back."